Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of Friends of the Squared Circle, where I'm your host, Crander Q, aka my real name. Now, you know we've got some hats. We're going to be rebranding here after the holidays with some new colors, new fashion choices, as well as we have to acknowledge Randy. The joke on the podcast is every time we mention Amy, Randy has to take a shot, and he's got 1,300 views. We don't care. I just want to get rid of that thing. As well as our other sponsor here at Friends of the Squared Circle, we have Darren Corbin. You can follow Darren Corbin on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, yes, and TikTok. Darren Corbin does have a TikTok there. You can also find him on patreon.com as well as slash Darren Corbin there. And don't forget our tumblers there. We got Superior Creations out of Superior here. They make custom tumblers for all your needs. And Peter, how are you doing today? Or Peter, which one do you prefer? I forgot to ask that off camera. So
No, Pete's fine.
Pete's fine. So let's just dive into it. What are some of your first memories of wrestling there?
Oh, geez, this goes like way back in the really early '80s. Um, my uncle used to be a big wrestling fan,
Okay.
and one time when I was staying with my aunt and uncle, they went off to go see AWA in Eau Claire at the North High School
Oh,
when they
okay.
used to run back in those days, and I come to find out later that Hogan and those guys, those big names that were in AWA, they used to run in Eau Claire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but my what I remember, is every time I would go over to my aunt and uncle's, I would see my uncle's old wrestling magazines,
Okay.
with Flair on the cover and Jerry Lawler and the whole pro wrestling illustrated magazines that they had back in the day. Um, and of course, they were all bloodied up. so, so to like a 6, 7 year old kid, seeing a bloody, messy wrestler on a magazine,
Mm-hmm.
it was a cool thing for me,
Yep.
anyway. So, but yeah, and then this was like when I lived in Augusta for a while,
Okay.
and when we moved back, just me and my mom moved back to Eau Claire, we got cable, and it's like biggest thing. It's like an upgrade from being out in the country with just
Mm-hmm.
antenna ears to getting cable. That got me exposed to WWE, or back then WWF,
Yep.
with Hogan, Iron Sheik, Junkyard Dog, and so on and so forth. So it exposed me a lot to wrestling. So
So when you were reading those magazines, you mentioned Flair, you mentioned the bloody covers. Was there anybody that kind of stuck out that was like your favorite or that you were scared of or any of those early
well,
memories that, really stuck with you with those magazines?
well, at that time I wasn't really reading them,
Okay.
or um, I wasn't really allowed to go through the magazines and
Okay.
whatnot. But I did see, like, the covers, and I saw Jerry the King Lawler on there quite a bit. Um, uh, Bruiser Brody, if you
Okay.
remember her a little bit. So some of those old school '70s and '80s wrestlers, from back in the day. Yeah.
Nice. Jerry the King Lawler, I got an opportunity not to segue too much before we get in a rabbit hole. Um, Over at MAW, and I was just super excited because I missed him 3 times in Wisconsin when he was around. But yeah, definitely Jerry the King Lawler. That's great name. Yeah, and I feel like I don't want to age you here, Pete. Like it is great to get that perspective, of a different time period because I've mentioned before, we always get those Attitude Era guys on here. Did you have any favorites when you got the cable? Again, with did anybody stick out? Anybody that scared you or that you hated because of being a heel?
Well, at the time, my favorite, and I think millions and millions of people would agree, their favorites would be at that time Hulk Hogan. I mean, there was just they pushed Hogan like crazy, and they ran with it, and uh, they did awesome. But uh, like for me, uh, I guess the one that I didn't obviously care about was the Iron Sheik, and then
Okay, yep.
Nikolai Nikolai Volkov. Let's see who else was there. Oh, Macho Man Randy Savage. I
Hmm.
think at the back in the day. Of course, I liked Elizabeth, but who didn't? So, but um, but when and then when Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels came up as the Rockers, I
Yep.
liked them until obviously Shawn Michaels went heel. Uh, then I didn't like him, and then of course Bret Hart, but it would just go on, and I always have my favorites, and Junkyard Dog was probably one of my go-to guys as a favorite, but it was always Hulk Hogan.
Gotcha. Now, about what's your age here? Now, are you more middle school, high school, or are you kind of still young? Again, I don't want to age you here. I'm just trying to get a timeline together here.
Like uh, back in those days, like in the mid '80s, oh,
Seems
I
like
was
yesterday.
probably about, yeah, it was just like yesterday. It seemed like, but yeah, tell that to my body. Wish, but I was probably about sixth grade,
Okay.
almost getting into middle school. Yeah, and back then sixth grade was elementary, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Gotcha. So, did you ever lose your fandom from wrestling as you were getting older, or were you pretty still into the
No,
scene?
I was still pretty solid of watching, watching wrestling, and then um, then when NWA was picking up steam on TBS, I watched that quite a bit. And then when they rebranded to WCW, I was back and forth between promotions, and I never really stopped watching it. So
Okay. Now you mentioned WCW. Another little thing on here that we always discuss is Disco Inferno. Were you a fan, or could you not stand Disco?
I I love this gimmick. I love this
See,
gimmick.
everybody loves Disco.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't, right?
It's so weird because I remember, like I say on every podcast, like I felt like I was so alone liking this dude because he was always on TV for some reason. I mean, he wasn't that great, but yet everyone that I've talked to on this podcast has given the thumbs up on Disco. I think maybe one or two didn't, but the majority, everybody's loved Disco. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, he had a good gimmick, and he
mhm,
was a good heel. But like you said, everybody loved Disco Inferno just for the fact how goofy it was.
mhm,
Um, and yeah, so it wasn't too bad.
gotcha. Now, were you more allegiant to the Attitude Era of WWF, or did you like the NWO more?
Oh, the whole NWO. Well, I liked how WCW and those guys did the whole NWO and how that
Hmm.
played out. Um, Obviously, it ran its course.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that they could have done it, but I know when they brought it back to WWE, I mean, the fans just loved it. But
Hmm.
um, I was, I think I watched more WCW with the NWO a little bit more than
Okay.
WWE, but I still watched the WWE with The Rock and Stone Cold and those guys, Undertaker. Back then, I was big fans of theirs. But also with WCW, I just wanted to see what would happen next that
Hmm.
NWO would do because they had Hogan and Nash and Hall, and then of course you had Sting come, still there being,
Yep.
that part of it, and then of course Goldberg. Um, he was like my new favorite at the time.
Oh, okay.
Because of course how Hogan wasn't over in WWE, he was in WCW, but he was a heel. So I had to have my favorite. That was Goldberg.
Gotcha.
So
So let's go back to your childhood a little bit here. Do you remember your first live event, or how old you were when you went to your first live event?
actually, I never really went to any live events in the area.
Okay.
It was just me and my mom, and we couldn't really at the time afford any of
Yeah,
them.
makes sense.
Um, yeah, but my first event that I went to was an independent event. Um, Jim Gagne in the
Okay.
old
Yep.
AEW days
Yep.
here in the Triple Valley. Um, I went to a lot of his shows
Hmm.
and got to know him in person on a personal level and whatnot, and actually got to work with him for a little bit before he retired.
Gotcha. What kind of work did you do for him?
Just some videotaping
Oh,
stuff
okay.
and that. Yeah,
So for
yeah,
all the kids at home that don't know what videotaping is, we actually used to have something separate than our cell phone, where we would
yep,
have to put it on our shoulder up to our eye and record the action. I have to always remind my fiance of things that I find in the antique store. Randy, take a shot. Um, like, oh, that's a cassette player. Oh, that's a VCR. And she just rolls her eyes every time. And I just found my dad's uh, camera a couple years ago because he used to race go karts uh,
oh,
back home and stuff. And it was just kind of like a memory, just time capsule of just how things different now. I mean, right now we're streaming from our phones, we're recording a podcast. I mean, back in the day for radio, you probably had to have a booth and soundboards and
yeah,
microphones, and here we are just using our phones as the Swiss Army knife of entertainment. So,
yep.
were
It's
you into any of the tape trading? Did you buy the magazines as you got older?
no, I just had my own camcorder and went to the shows and
Okay.
started videotaping and uh, and then I would just record or copy everything and give it to Jim, and he would make money off it. I would make money off of it, so it
Nice.
worked out nicely. And then when the Midnight Man came into the picture, I don't know if you remember
Mhm.
uh, Midnight Man, but he actually uh, worked at a uh, TV studio down in Iowa,
Oh,
and Jim
okay.
hired him to come up, record his shows, and air it down there.
Oh, okay.
Nothing up here for some reason, but
Hmm.
he did it down there, and yeah, so and I helped out with that as well with the video work,
Were you
operating.
lucky enough to save any of those old tapes, or
I have some of the old high eight tapes.
okay?
Yeah,
That would definitely be fun
I
just to
just
kind of
yeah
pull out, throw in the VCR.
I have to um get them copied onto CD, of course,
Yep,
or DVD.
yep.
So
That I mean, that would be kind of cool just to see, some old footage. Was there any talent back then that you kind of like gravitated towards, or anybody that you were kind of, buddy buddy with, or were you just the camera guy?
um, I kind of thought that me and Horace the Psychopath
Oh,
were
okay.
getting pretty close, and then um, not like a hey, let's go have some beers type of, I
Mhm.
just talked with them and this and that. And then the big dog, Dave Rose, uh, or formerly known as the LA Mauler back then too.
Okay.
Um, he worked for Jim and whatnot, and so I know he's around the Eau Claire area as well, excuse me, talk with him and whatnot. But there's a few here and there that I've talked with before, and and obviously Mitch Paradise. I remember him, and he vaguely remembers me doing camera work back then, and she and those guys. So
Yeah, probably
of
meeting,
course,
hundreds and hundreds of people a night and then trying to keep everybody straight. I know I've met him, probably 15 times, and every time it's just like, hey, bud. And it's just like, I don't think you know who I am, but, I'm still going to come up and talk to you every time, get a picture with you because he's such a cordial guy. You brought up him. Now, I'm going to throw this at you. Steve Stardom. That is probably your promotion, one of my favorites, and we'll touch base with that more. Do you think you ever crossed paths with him? Because I know he's been doing it for quite a while. So,
oh, we've had him at our shows on a regular basis.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's quite the character.
I'm still trying to get a picture with him. I know at the last show you had there in Chautauqua, the one that was outside there, that was such a fun show because he was just going crazy. And
yeah, that was in Holcomb.
Holcomb, excuse me, sorry. I'm from the area and I don't even know where I live. But I remember like the security that you had there was the football team, and I was busting on the security guy because he was sitting right behind us the whole night, and he took the chair, and the security guard's like, "Do I go take that back?" I was like, "Let's let it play out. Let's see how it goes." And then he ended up crawling onto the ring because Steve started throwing the chairs all over, and he's like, "Man, I got scared," So that was probably one of my favorite memories from that show was just Steve, going crazy with the chairs and the security guard, and then I kept messing with the rest of the security guards there because they're part of the football team there. But back to you here. So you were taping it. Did you do any more work inside the wrestling around that time, or you were just kind of strictly?
No, I just worked for Jim for a little bit, and then when he retired from being the promoter, and then he ended up buying the bar there in Fall Creek.
Yep.
Then I pretty much didn't really do much of anything until I found out that another promotion was running here in the Chippewa Valley, and went to a few shows of theirs and whatnot. But that's and eventually a buddy of mine from work, we decided to start our own promotion.
So. Okay. Now with that, we won't dive too much into that just yet because I don't want to get there yet. I know we're going to talk about it.
No.
So what were some of the first things you had to do to start that? Let's just start with like, how did you come up with the name? You said you mentioned a buddy from work and you decided to go into that. How did you guys get that going? Let's just kind of lead to like how you started doing your first shows here.
Yeah, well, I've been kind of brainstorming things in my head about wanting to do something like that for quite a while. But I didn't want to do it on my own. I wanted
Makes sense. A lot of work.
I wanted to have somebody that can also financially help, do this. And so when I started to talk with this coworker of mine, we both had a passion for wrestling, and we just kind of dabbled. And I told him, like, well, I'm kind of like thinking about doing a promotion to start one up in this area, and he was like, oh, really? I've kind of thought about that same thing as well. So we kind of took several months to kind of put things together and this and that, and then we had our first show back in October of 2018 as X Force Power Wrestling.
Okay.
So
where'd you guys come up with that name?
I just popped in my head. This
Gotcha.
wasn't no, just scientifically kind of drop the names and
Hmm.
process of elimination. Is like, oh, that kind of sounds kind of cool, and so yeah, it went on for at least 2 or 3 shows, and then me and my so-called partner
Hmm.
had a falling out, and
Okay.
he couldn't fulfill his obligations, and so we had to, I guess, put things on the back burner, so to speak,
Okay.
and that's when I rebranded to All Out Pro Wrestling. So
And then back to the naming. I'm sure like it's got to be hard because like I've played the wrestling games in the past, and I've do the fantasy booking in my head or how I would do WWE different. I mean,
mhm.
just trying to think of 3 letters or a name that somebody hasn't already used, nowadays in wrestling is
It's
quite the
tough.
challenge. And I mean, I got
But
pretty lucky with my little podcast name here, Friends of
mhm,
the Squared Circle. I mean, I just thought, oh, well, that's kind of cool. And then I Googled it, seen no one was using it. So I was like, perfect. This might actually work. And then the concept actually works really well with it of being you, a friend of the Squared Circle. But yeah, and I know I went to some of those early shows. Always a blast. I know my nephew absolutely loved them because he would get his sign ripped up. He
yep,
would
yep,
he actually got to slap Mitch Paradise, or
mhm,
excuse me, Mitch Paradise was holding someone that he got to slap, and I forgot to kind of smarten my nephew up to, use an open palm, not his fist. Um, I know he loves those first few shows that we went to as well because he got to be Mr. Center Retention, have his sign get ripped up, and then challenge a few of the wrestlers to a little verbal battle.
right, yep,
So I
yep.
thank you for those memories because those I know I will hold dear, and then hopefully when he's older, that he looks back and say, "Huh, Uncle Cal was pretty cool," So, and
Right.
you may not think it, but I mean, you are creating memories for people out there, and a lot
That's
of
what we're
people aren't going to
trying.
tell you, but I know, like, I truly appreciate those memories because he actually got into the wrestling bug because of those first few shows you ran. So,
Oh, that's yeah.
and it's a
Well,
lot less traveling that we had to do because I'm from your area, but now I live up in Superior.
right,
So it's super nice to have something in town at the time where I could just pick them up and then just drive 10 minutes and we're at the venue. So,
right.
and the one that Ryan Cruz ripped up at the I can see it. I'm drawing a blank. The children's theater there.
Oh,
That
yep.
one definitely, yeah. He got all excited because there was weapons in the match, and the one guy looked like kind of like Bray Wyatt, and he just thought that was the coolest thing ever. So, but yeah, so you started to rebrand. Now let's get more into All Out Pro Wrestling. Then, what kind of avenues did you have to take there? Did you have to find a new partner? Did you get more people involved?
So we, what I ended up doing was trying to primarily get more sponsorship.
Okay.
Um, Sponsors for promoters is huge.
Hmm.
Um, it's less out of the pocketbook, put towards the wrestlers, and then whatever you get for ticket sales, you put that towards wrestlers, and
Yep.
whatever you get for profit, there you go. Um, but also we were looking at venues that would actually pay us to do a show there at their venue.
There you go.
Yeah. So the one that we had in Eau Claire at the Clearwaters venue there in Claremont. Um, I think you went to that one. I think.
Yeah. Like the
Yep.
old Seahorse Inn area, right?
Yep. Yep. Mitch
Yep. Yep.
Paradise.
That
I
is a
think.
beautiful one. Yep.
Yep. We had I think Mitch Paradise versus Garrison Creed as our main event.
Yep. Little Nate
Yep.
was there. Blair Onyx.
Yep.
Yep.
Uh, yeah. Yep. So and I think that was the first time we had Steve Stardom uh, for APW as well. So
I love that
um,
guy.
yeah, he's quite the character. But then after that, we kind of took a break a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
COVID hit.
Yep. Yep.
So we had lined up events here in Chippewa for I think 2000 was it 2019 I think it was or no 2020. We were going to bring in Hernandez and
Oh, yep.
whatnot. Yep.
Yep.
That didn't materialize because of the whole COVID thing starting up. So we had to put everything all on the back burner again and kind of wait and see what's going on. And then I met up with the owner and the guys up there at Paradise Shores,
Mm-hmm.
up there in Holcomb, Wisconsin, and they paid us to do a show, and we ended up having Rhino.
Yep.
Yep, and then we had James Ellsworth as a surprise for everybody. So
Mm-hmm.
nobody knew that he was coming. So
yeah, that
but,
was. I mean, I got a little pop out of that. My friends are not too into the current stuff, but they knew who he was because I showed them clips. But yeah, I remember that was pretty crazy. The crowd kind of went a little wild. But that was a fun show. Like it, those outside ones are just great.
I mean, we had a nice view of the lake, and
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the weather wasn't like the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
Like the day before and the day after. But it worked out pretty nice,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's where we really, as a promotion, really started to take off a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember chatting with Rhino. He was pretty excited that my buddy's nephew brought an action figure for him. And then I had, I always bring like the steel chairs for like the kids to sign because like a lot of the independent wrestlers will sign that for him and stuff. But I remember Rhino like, basically telling me I had to buy my buddy's sister a drink. I was like, because you said so, I will do it, sir. I mean, yeah.
There you go. And what's cool about Rhino, he actually drove from Michigan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. He brought
Nice.
in a guy that he works with over there in Michigan, another wrestler, and they both drove over here. So
Okay. Yeah, it was my buddy's now wife's first like independent show. And me, I like to heckle the wrestlers. I like to talk smack. I like to be the guy that just, says the funny thing. And I don't know how many times she probably got nervous because I just kept throwing the zingers out. And she was just like, "Would you shut up?" I'm like, "No, this is what I do at every show." And that's like I go back to the security guard. Like he was just laughing the whole time. And then he was telling all the other guys, like, "This dude is wild," like so.
I think that the best part of that whole day was seeing Greg Hertz get dumped in the water.
He got a great view of the lake. Yes.
Yep, he got a very good view. And actually, he wasn't supposed to hop right off the pier. When Steve did a drop toe hold, it was just supposed to go right directly into the water, but
Okay.
Greg actually hit the pier
Oh,
before
okay.
he went. Yeah, so he felt that.
Yeah, I share my buddy. I think he's got a video where like everybody just kind of took off down there, and I think James Ellsworth actually comes running behind with his camera to film what was about to happen. So that was kind of a cool little memory.
Yep,
So
James has I haven't even looked, but I know he had like well over 1,000 views of that incident. So
yeah,
that was a good deal. Yeah.
I mean, I just can't get over Steve Stardom. I just think he's the I don't know, like something about him. He just that crazy persona. He just comes out and he's got that mean smug on his face and starts throwing chairs every time. He's got those sunglasses on, and I definitely hope to get an actual picture with him. Last time I did see him at that show, he was walking out, and everybody was telling him, "Hey, good match," and he was like, "Oh, thank you, thank you," But I didn't want to like bug him because he was probably on the way out to the car or something. But yeah, definitely Steve Stardom. I think he's one of my favorites out of your promotion there. So He always cracks me up.
He's been at it for quite a while.
Yeah, yeah. I think I even yelled, "Give him the championship!" Like he, and then it was the one at Chi High there, Chippewa Falls Senior High School. When he had that other match, and he's out there just doing the same thing in the gymnasium. So
Oh, right.
with Eric Redbeard, they call him now. I mean, I think that's his new name. Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
How was that experience bringing him in? Because he's just a Minnesota boy too. So
yes, he is. It was nice to not have to fly a big name in.
mhm.
He just drove over and whatnot, but nicest guy. He was just a mellow kind of guy. He was easy to talk to, and he did a couple pictures for me for a couple of our fans that we wanted to get pictures for. So,
Nice.
um, and he was just so fun and easy to work with.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yep.
Because I remember he was at Rockfest here in town, and the girl I went to high school with was like, "Somebody said this is a wrestler, but I don't know." And she posted a picture with him, and that was the year that I did end up going to Rockfest. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" But because of you, I actually got the opportunity to meet him. So,
yeah,
so
yeah, we had and with our before that we had Blizzard Bash, the first one in Augusta.
that one I
And
don't think I was at. No.
no, you weren't at that one. That one was we had Carlito,
Oh,
and
okay.
then we had Eugene. We brought Eugene back, um, and then Marche Rocket, who wrestles in NWA.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so we had that one back in the so
Yeah.
last year, 2021. Yeah, we had four really good shows. We brought in some big names. Like I said, we had Rhino, James Ellsworth.
Mm-hmm.
We had Hernandez, Sin Bodie. Like I said, Carlito, um, Eugene. We brought back. So yeah, we had quite the year in 2021. So
Okay. And we like to keep this under an hour, so we're going to get into a little thing here. I'm going to have you just, plug some stuff here for us. And then I'm going to put you on the hot seat right after you do a little plug in here. You want to give us a little heads up of your show coming up?
yeah, we got Blizzard Bash 2. It's going to be at the Chi High School here in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, December 17th. 7 matches, which is basically highlighted by the Farron Peterson Memorial Battle Royal.
Okay.
So the winner of that will get a nice trophy that will be presented to the winner by Farron's widow and his family. So
Gotcha.
that's pretty cool. We got tag team championship match for the first ever APW tag team titles.
Okay.
Get Gear Solid versus the Summit.
Oh, geez, that's two big boys beating up little kids. Whew.
Oh, he should have been there at the last one then. That was even worse.
No offense, Summit. No offense, Get Gear Solid there.
Right, right. And then we have a triple threat match with the United States title, which is held by Zach Neal.
Okay.
He'll go against Kenny Defiance and Leonard Literacy.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be a
Hoping to
triple
get
threat.
Leonard on here soon. I've been watching him at the MAW shows a lot. That'd be a good little podcast there. I see Steve Stardom's on the poster.
Yep.
That's the all-star right there, everybody.
Yep. Steve's going to be wrestling an old foe of his, Tejas.
I'm not familiar with that name. Okay.
He's over there in Green Bay area, and he's actually wrestled
Gotcha.
over in the Tech area. He wrestled for a certain somebody named Dark Child.
Okay.
I won't get into that.
Yeah, we don't want to get into that there. So
no. And then we got Shauna Reed going up against possibly Lena Solana.
Okay.
She's from the academy, so we'll see how that goes.
Gotcha.
And then we have Greg Hertz. He's going up against Onyx Andretti, which is the guy there on the far right,
Okay.
the tattoo there.
So you got Bullet Bronson there.
Yep, I was just gonna mention our main event is Bullet Bronson versus Matthias in what will now be a mask versus title match
Oh, wow.
in a no holds barred
Uh-oh.
stipulation. So yeah,
Another
so
big guy, little guy situation there.
yep. So yeah, hey, Bullet Bronson won some. So they've been in the ring the last couple times, and it's been back and forth.
Gotcha.
So this is the third time's a charm, and see how it comes out. So yeah.
And that's an all-age event as well, correct?
Oh
It's at
yeah.
the high school? Okay.
Yep.
All-age event. Okay.
Yep. Family friendly event, and
Perfect.
hopefully Steve can keep it down a little bit.
I might have to send you a couple bucks just if he's got any promo photos, because I feel like that needs to go right back here for me in the future episodes there. So now I'm going to put you on the hot spot here a little bit, not too hot, but is there anything we can expect from All Out Pro Wrestling moving forward into the new year here? What are some of your goals? Do you have some new venues? Do you see yourself going to different cities?
Right. Yeah, we actually have I've partnered up with Greg Hertz, and we've kind of been looking at doing more uh, wrestling for 2023.
Okay.
But in the spring, we also are going to be partnering up with Jerry Adams, who's going to come on board. So it's going to be three of us that's going to run APW.
Okay.
And starting March of next year, what our plans, and hopefully they hold, starting in March, we're going to start doing monthly events,
Okay.
mainly towards the end of the month. But we're going to try doing monthly events, and then at we are also looking out at other venues in other towns.
Okay.
I already got possibly my foot in the door up at the Chautauqua High School.
Okay.
I got a guy that's up there that's trying to work with us to get that going up there. We're gonna look up and getting up in Barron, over there in River Falls, Hudson, some
Nice.
more around here in this area as well. So 2023 for APW is we're gonna get bigger.
Perfect. Well, I
Get
look
our name
forward to
out there
that
a little more.
definitely if they're going to be around that area. After the winter, I do travel a little bit more. Full disclosure for those who are watching this everywhere else, I don't know how big my span is myself, but up in Wisconsin, we get quite a lot of snow. Me personally, I don't mind it. It lets me relax, lets me calm down, slows everything down. Whereas the other half of Wisconsin absolutely hates it and can go to warmer temperatures, but they never leave. But yes, I'm looking forward to that. Now that we've kind of solidified what we're doing here, I look forward to throwing your poster up here and there. If I'm down that way, I'm always willing to help with anything you need. So
I appreciate it.
perfect. So is there anything else you want to plug besides the show? Do you got any social medias we can find you at? The floor is yours to kind of boost your presence online there.
Right. You can always just look us up at on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at All Out Pro Wrestling, as well as our YouTube channel, All Out Pro Wrestling as well. So you got a few videos on there from basically this last year. So
Okay.
and back in August, I think we got some video footage there. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, we're just trying to plug away and do the best that we can do, to bring good family entertainment to the area. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm all about promoting more wrestling shows because A, it gives me more wrestling to go to. B, it's just nice to have choices. I know we got a few choices throughout the Midwest region. I mean, there's probably 10 to 15 promotions just between,
The
Minnesota and
indie,
Wisconsin. So,
the indie scene has just blown up in the
mhm.
last like 5 years or so.
Yep, that's definitely
Crazy
good for you guys. So,
competition.
yes, yes. So, all right. Well, Pete, I appreciate you coming on. I always do the little shtick where I kick you out. You just want to hang out in the lounge there for me. I'll plug my sponsors because I messed up horribly in the beginning there, getting a little tongue tied. But yeah, just hang out in the lounge there for me. I'll plug these products and we'll have a little chat off camera here. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you for being a friend of the Squared Circle.
Thanks for having me.
Nice little tagline. All right. Be right back here for you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is another episode of Friends of the Squared Circle, where I'm your host, Crander Q, a.k.a. my real name. Yes, we didn't do it properly, so I don't want to listen to him whine. Randy, #1 views, as well as Alex there, but Randy gets the spotlight because Randy is the diva. Only one shot today, Randy. I'm pretty excited for you. Yes, we have hats. Feel free to hit me up on social media at Facebook, at Friends of the Squared Circle, as well as other outlets. You can comment on the YouTube video when we're on YouTube. Make sure you give a little love to our sponsors there. Darren Corbin on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and yes, Darren Corbin is on TikTok, patreon.com/Darren Corbin. Darren's out with an injury right now, so anything you can do to help. Patreon just starts out at $1. That's pretty simple and easy. As well as, yes, we have our custom tumblers from Superior Creations on Facebook.com/Superior Creations MN. You'll see on our social medias we have some with Sierra and Joey. And stay tuned, folks, because we're starting to also get a little bit bigger here in 2023. We're going to be starting a new thing where it's called Show Me the Collectibles. If you have collectibles and want to brag, yes, I know it's just a cheap little logo there, but we're going to have people come on and show their collectibles. And then we also have Friends of the Squared Circle Showcase, where you can come on and brag about meeting professional wrestlers, pro and indie, and you can give us your hot take of meeting those celebrities. And last but not least, let's just get it on there one more time. Blizzard Bash, December 17th, Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, at the high school there in Chippewa. Go give them a like and follow on social media, as well as All Out Pro Wrestling. I will get the links to put those in the comments, so you're able to find them a little easier here on the YouTube channel, as well as we'll start sharing that poster now that it's getting closer. So, as always, it's your boy, Crander Q. Thank you for being a friend of the Squared Circle, and Crander Q out. I am messing up today, but I love it. Thank you.